catch away from playing for the NFC Championship. Kaepernick, who only played one series last week in Houston, I expect he's going to play a little bit more than that tonight.
Yeah, I would think. I mean, you'd like to see 10 or 12 passing attempts out of Colin, but again, I think Blaine Gabbert will probably get the lion's share of this game in the second and third quarter.
And so that's Bradley Pinion, the rookie punter, drilling one that Lucky Whitehead lets skip by, and will be a touchback for the Dallas Cowboys. And another question answered. Tony Romo will come out and start tonight's game for the Cowboys. 13th season, coming off a brilliant year. Look at the touchdown to interception ratio.
And there's nobody better than Tony Romo when the offensive line gives him time to throw. When he's got 2.5, 3 seconds to throw, Ted, he really is the best in the business.
And indeed it is Darren McFadden. He did not play last week in the Cowboy preseason opener in San Diego, but he's there as the single back on the Cowboys' first play. And McFadden popped. McFadden runs right into who?
Navarro
53.
Bowman, and that is a beautiful play. You can't do it any better. Sniffed it out right from the get-go. Off to the right tackle, filled the hole. Awesome.
And here's our Levi's starting lineup for the Cowboys. Familiar name, of course, the great veteran tight end in Jason Witten. And an offensive line that was, you can make a great case, was the best in the NFL last season. What they did for DeMarco Murray in particular. Bowman running up near the line, and Bowman got in, forced McFadden to alter, and the 49ers bottled him up 2 straight plays.
Well, it's good to see this defense now with the frontline players out there, obviously. Navarro Bowman with a big impact on that play, blitzing right up inside in terms of a run blitz, or whether he just saw it and really fired his gun downhill, forced McFadden to redirect, and who was waiting for him? A guy who didn't play last week, Aaron Lynch, made the tackle. They look like a different defense with the studs out there.
Tim third and long, and look who's out there first time as a 49er, number 90, Darnell Dockett, who's just outside the hash to the top of your picture. And Romo gets it out quickly with a flag down. And so is his receiver, Lance Dunbar. 49ers are a very strong 3 plays. Let's see the flag first, and it's against Dallas.
How about Navarro Bowman? Really, I mean, 3 plays, 3 and out. And Navarro Bowman, Ted, as we said, has not been in a uniform, a game uniform, in 19 months and had an impact on all 3 plays.
With everything around this team for the last 7-8 months being about who's gone, what a welcome sight to see someone coming back.
Oh, they're still good. Look, the cupboard's not bare.
Yeah,
there's still a lot of good players left on this team.
And on the defense, it won't just be Bowman. It'll be Glenn Dorsey coming back. He's not playing tonight, but Glenn missed all of last year. Here's Jared Hayne. How about that catch? Say hey. Good day, mate. He does this a couple more times. We're all going to be eating Vegemite up here.
Well, it's a bomb of a kick, and look at this catch over the shoulder, and then here's what you love. Again, we saw it last week in the open field, the vision, the cutting ability, shakes off Kyle Wilbur right there. Look at him read the block in front of him by Bruce Miller. Wanted to cut it up inside, read the block of Bruce, bounced it outside, made a few extra yards, and special teams, without question, Ted, will be his inside track to making this roster.
It was a bombed punt, no doubt, by Dallas. Still a 28-yard, actually 27-yard return by Haynes. So, Kaepernick starts, and interesting, out of the eye with Bruce Miller as the fullback. Didn't see Miller much last Saturday, and he drives off the right side to lead the way for Carlos Hyde as we see the Levi's starting lineup. And the 49er offense with Miller leading the way for Hyde. Of course, the 3 leading receivers.
They didn't get to see Vernon Davis in a uniform last week. He's back out there today. The offensive line, still the area that we all should have our eyes on. Center, and in particular right guard with Marcus Martin. That spot, I think, still up for grabs in terms of the competition.
So the 49ers run their first 2 plays out of the eye, and Hyde is close to a first. Hyde has a first.
In the Dallas territory, and that's good for 49er
Right away, Tim. That's a different look. We didn't see that power running out of the eye last week.
Well, they call it 21 personnel, two running backs and one tight end. And what Dallas did on those plays was they kept their two safeties deep. And if you're going to show the 49ers that soft shell, Colin Kaepernick's going to see it and check to a run. Love this up-tempo offense.
And here it goes now out of the pistol. Kaepernick keeps it. And wisely slides right in front of safety Barry Church. And let's look at the Levi starting lineups. Now in the Dallas defense that has some familiar names that are not out there tonight. You see the 11 that are at least starting. Familiar names not. Rolando McClain. Greg Hardy is now a Cowboy. He'll be suspended, as will McClain, the first 4 games of the regular season. And then Kaepernick wisely, after getting wide, made 2 men miss, throws it away.
And smart play by Colin. And look, good coverage by Dallas, man coverage. They put both receivers out to the right. Colin knew it was man coverage. Receivers ran crossing routes. Nobody open, had some pressure up inside. Just moved outside, extended the play, and then the wise decision to, once you're out of the pocket, throw it away. Once it gets past the line of scrimmage in terms of the football, you're fine.
So a short third. And look at this, Vernon Davis, fullback. And Carlos Hyde has to fight. Boy, he needed second effort to get close. But there's a different look.
And I think we're going to see more of that this year, right? In terms of the tight ends being implemented as run blockers. And Vernon lines up at fullback that time. They'll be in a variety of roles, fullback, H-back, the traditional tight end, flexed out away from the line of scrimmage. And Carlos Hyde really makes that first down on his own right there. Devon Coleman and Gokchar had him right in the hole, and that big body spun for the first down.
And now 2 tight ends in the game, but the handoff goes to Hyde. Good cutback. And Carlos Hyde runs it to the 20.
Well, we've already seen different things than we saw last week. Last week it was mostly 2 tight end package. Here we're, Jimmy Tom Sula and Jeep Christ are implementing the fullback, whether it's Bruce Miller or Vernon Davis. Saw the movement plays by the quarterback. Read option. Colin took it the first time. That time hands it off. Some nice cuts by Carlos Hyde.
So again, 2 tight ends. Wide receivers either side. Smith top, Bolden bottom. Vance McDonald. And he's dragged down in the open field by Andrew Gachkar.
And this now, when you start talking about the up-tempo offense, earning first downs, getting first downs, whether they're on first, second, or third down, now you're starting to put some plays together. And guess what? You're going to start seeing the Dallas Cowboys start to wear down. Maybe the biggest benefit of the up-tempo offense is getting the defense tired. Should be able to capitalize down here.
So second down for the 49ers in the Toyota red zone. Oh, and that play busted. Blown up. That's Jack Crawford.
And Jack Crawford, just coming from the defensive tackle spot, just slips right inside of Marcus Martin. Hard to know scheme-wise whether Joe Looney was supposed to block back, but typically when a guy slants inside like that and the guard's going for the linebacker, Joe Looney probably should have blocked back and got a body on Jack Crawford.
So now Quentin Patton comes in as a 3rd wide receiver. 49ers 3 wides with Vernon Davis the tight end and Hyde alongside Kaepernick. And there's the hands and a catch that should be a first down by Hyde. Another new wrinkle. Hyde out of the backfield.
Seen it all off season, really, in practice. And a great read by Colin Kaepernick. Looks deep to shallow.
Prior to
got 2-over-1 on Torrey Smith.
Defense.
Now you got a 1-on-1.
Penalties decline.
Carlos Hyde against the linebacker and all the running backs. Hyde as well. I mean, they've shown the ability to run those option routes on the linebackers and get open and catch the football.
Well, we haven't seen him in a game yet, but all week in practice, it was amazing to watch Kaepernick's work on his rhythm with Reggie Bush.
Great
catching passes.
Can't wait to see that.
Yep. And driving into the middle, taking that ball down near the 6-yard line. That's Mike Davis 4th-round draft pick, South Carolina.
Isn't it funny how a great week of practice, preseason or not, really translates to the game? And if you were out of practice this week, and I know you were out there, it was sharp, really from top to bottom. And the amount of work that these coaches get done in the time allowed is amazing because of the up-tempo and because how they're always pushing it in terms of getting quality work at a fast pace.
So now Garrett Selleck is a second tight end. He's tight to the right. Vernon Davis slot to the left. Bolden, nope, too far. So Bolden is being covered there by the veteran Orlando Scandrick. But that ball, no chance for a catch. 3rd and goal.
And a good decision, good vision by Colin Kaepernick. He took the one-on-one shot. Bolden, his favorite target, isolated against Orlando Scandrick. Scandrick was in great position. Wise decision by Colin just to throw it away.
Now both tight ends to the left. Kaepernick with that signal, changing at the line. On the back shoulder, broken up, not held. Well done there by Corey White, the former New Orleans cornerback that was claimed on waivers by the Cowboys, and he busted that up from Torrey Smith.
Another on-point read by Colin. Sees the one-on-one coverage with Torrey out there. Takes a shot at it. Very good throw on the back shoulder, and it looked like Corey White just broke those arms down. That's an outstanding defensive play by Corey White to break the arms down and knock that football loose.
So 25 yards now for Dawson. Bradley Pinion, rookie punter, is the new holder. Kyle Nelson, second-year snapper. And Phil Dawson drives it through. So the 49ers starting with the Jared Hayne punt return and march the ball up about 50 yards down the field, ending up with the first 3 of the game.
Tonight's coverage of 49ers preseason football is brought to you by Chevron, Levi's, and Bud Light, the perfect beer for living life by your own playbook.
Well, it was a game-time call again that Navarro Bowman would play, and he's made himself felt already with these Geico tackles of the game.
The beauty of it is, you would think as a player now from experience, is he's over the mental hurdle now. And I'm sure he thought about it coming into the game in terms of the knee and that catastrophic knee injury. But mentally, Ted, most importantly, physically it's been behind him. Now mentally it's, I'm sure, behind him. He's going to have a great year, man. And his leadership is just going to continue to uptick as the leader of the 49er defense.
It's amazing how you appreciate, he was gone all last season. And seeing him back for 4 snaps there, I guess it was 3 snaps, you appreciate him. All of a sudden you go, wow, missed seeing that.
Well, and he's such a multifaceted player, not just as a run defender. We all know he's fantastic in coverage.
Right, interesting first 2 kickoffs of the game. It's the rookie Pinion, who has a massive leg and the ability to do that, to take the kickoff return out. And he does so there. Cowboys with a touchback. All right, so that's the more familiar preseason game site. Tony Romo, 1 series, and he's got the baseball cap on. Navarro Bowman, the same for the 49ers after his 1 series. He's done. Brandon Weeden is the backup for the Cowboys, his 2nd season in Dallas. And Tim, would you think the Cowboys are in somewhat the same spot with Weeden as the 49ers are with Gabbert? They want to see him have a real good preseason?
Without question.
To raise confidence?
Yeah, without question, because you look at the other 2 quarterbacks on the roster, and in my mind, they're not number 2s.
And McFadden is run down by Nick Moody. Nick Moody is making it as Michael Wilhoit, who was out actually. It was nice to see Michael Wilhoit was on the field warming up before the game, but Nick Moody's getting a great chance here, Tim.
And he is in the battle. Looks like he's got a little neck roll on tonight. I think that's something new for Nick Moody, which you want to see out of these linebackers tonight. Build off the good things they did, but certainly improve in their pass defense and their awareness in their pass defense.
And McFadden is stopped. Did get the ball outside the 25. Shane Scove is the other linebacker, by the way, in the field for the 49ers.
Yeah, and when I say that, Scove was a practice squad guy last year and certainly capable of playing the run. But what Houston did last week is they really spread out the defense and they put those guys in a pinch where they really had to think in terms of the pass coverage, where their help was, wide receiver alignments, and you definitely need to think, but then you got to react on instinct. And I think there was just too much overthinking by those young backers last week.
49ers in their nickel package. They're bringing Darnell Dockett and Tank Carradine out for the nickel rush downs. And that one not held. Would have been a first down. But Gavin Escobar, who was their second tight end, a pretty talented guy, and he could not hold that.
Pretty good rush by Tank Carradine up inside. But watch Shane Scove here. He's got to pick up this crossing route by Gavin Escobar, and he's just late doing it. He's got his eyes in the backfield. Escobar is able to really run by him and create separation. You got to anticipate that. You got to move a little bit faster. Good thing that ball wasn't caught by Escobar.
The ball punted away again to Hayne, and he'll bring this from the 20. Makes the first man miss, makes a couple more miss, and the punter has to stop him. Chris Jones finally drags down Hayne after 35 yards.
Ted, it's ridiculous. I mean, Jimmy Tomsula said it last week. He's a world-class professional athlete, and he continues to show it.
Jared Hayne, well, these are innovative for sure. They are impactful. This Australian import, a 34-yard punt return. There's the Xfinity, Infinity, innovative move.
Those gunners, the guys that run down and cover kicks on the outside for the punt team, very, very athletic, and 2 weeks in a row, Jared Haynes made him look silly.
And finally, a flag here on the start. Kaepernick stays out there, and interesting.
False start. Offense. Number 75. 5-yard penalty. First down.
Things are connected, Tim, as you know from your playing days. Jim Tomsula last week took Colin Kaepernick out after one series in Houston, and he said it was connected to Joe Staley. He took Joe Staley out, and he didn't want Kaepernick to stay out there without Staley. Well, Staley is out there right now, playing the second series. And there's Bruce Miller leading the way for Hyde. And a big, wide gap off the left side.
That is blocked up so well from top to bottom. And I would definitely marry up Staley and Colin Kaepernick. But look at the double team right there. A good seal block by Anquan Bolden coming in. A good lead block by Bruce Miller. And look at the size of that hole. You really can't draw it up any better in terms of how the blocking in the run game has gone so far in this game.
That's it. The run game has been strong in this first quarter. Second down. And Kaepernick in trouble. This one he won't get away. Cowboys really pressure and push and smother Kaepernick.
I think Jeep Chris had a play dialed up with a lot of vertical routes and deep routes. And guys were still running with their backs to Colin Kaepernick. Little twist stunt inside. It was really Devon Coleman that had the initial pressure. Colin needs to understand, and he knows how athletic he is. Could have easily just taken that around the corner and bought himself some more time. Could have easily outrun those defensive linemen.
So now a long third for the 49ers. And Hyde will run. He'll get a couple, and that's it. So the Cowboy defense, and that was, as Tim said, Devon Coleman and Ken Bishop that combined on that inside pressure to bust up the second down play, and that took the 49ers out of this drive.
Well, no question, Ted. And I think if you watch that sack on Colin, that's one of the areas where they want to see improvement in terms of the consistency. Just pocket patience and understanding. You know, you don't need to panic. You don't need to backpedal and retreat. Just pop it outside, extend the play, and find one of those receivers deep.
So Pinion gets his first punt of the evening. Whitehead, fair catch called, and all kinds of bumping, but who was first down there? And you gotta get used to seeing that. 31 in red. L.J. McCray has become the outside man that's going to be first down on just about every punt. All right, there you go. Well, that's one of the scenes you have in the preseason. You have 49er fans, you've got Cowboys fans. Last year, the first regular season game in Dallas was a ton of 49er faithful in Arlington. So if you'd like to jump on tonight and participate in Ask Tim, which is presented by Jack in the Box, there's your tweet address at KPIX Football, and we'll be answering a couple of your questions submitted via Twitter.
Got Eric Armstead in the game, first-round pick at left defensive end, and Mike Purcell certainly earned himself some earlier playing time with his performance last week.
Now this is Joseph Randall, and he's got a little chance here on the cutback. And he turned a play that might have been smothered into about a 6-yard gain.
And Purcell was on his horse again. I mean, what he did last week in the goal line stand was awesome. And he just was able to do it again in terms of getting down the line of scrimmage and pursuing the running back, Joseph Randall, but overran it in a good little move by Randall to reverse field and come back.
Armstead there, Purcell in the middle. You'll always note him by the flowing hair down the back of the jersey. And there's Purcell involved. And Tim, I had a chance to talk to Purcell the other day, and you could see he was beaming, because he's a guy who's worked 2 years practice squad here to get this chance. And I asked him point blank, do you feel ready now? And he goes, yeah, I do.
He's a different
I feel like
player.
It's my time.
He's a different player. You remember him last year, the first preseason game in Baltimore, got to play a lot. Wasn't great. Again, another guy that shows it every day in practice. And the first 2 plays he's in the game, now they go to the nickel package, so they're going to rush the passer. But the first 2 plays he's in the game had an impact on both of them getting off the blocks.
You see a blueprint perhaps for the 49ers. Darnell Dockett is playing only on these third downs, on the nickel downs. Flags are down. Escobar is down. Eric Reed stops him. That's a first down gain.
Yeah, they're going to get
coming
a hold.
back.
Holding, offense, number 21. 10-yard penalty, replay, third down.
So, Timmy, we got Dockett playing on these nickel downs.
Can't wait to see him go. And that's why he was brought here from Arizona. Here's the hold, Ted. Joseph Randall on Shane Scove. Shane Scove coming up on an interior blitz, one-on-one on the running back. Tried to jump around Randall. Randall grabbed his leg, but that's really why Dockett was brought in. He's played a long time in this league. Very good player still. Set out all year last year with the ACL. They brought him in for this role in particular, rushing the passer right up the gut.
So now he's flipping over. You're going to see Dockett from the bottom hash mark on the screen. Switching Tony Gerard. Eddie is in on this nickel set. It has been Tancarity. They're basically going to be the pass rushers. And the ball's incomplete, intended for Devin Street. Antoine Bethea, Kenneth Acker. On the cover.
Such a smart play by Antoine Bethea when you think about it. I mean, that 5 years ago in pro football, that's an absolute blow-up shot. But the receiver's defenseless. Devin Street goes up in the air. And Antoine Bethea wisely throttles down and takes a legal shot on him. Incompletion. Now they're punting.
Well, that gets everybody's attention. I don't think punts have been this exciting around here in a while. Chris Jones. All right, I'm sorry. This is Tom Hornsey, their second punter. The camp punter. And Hain coming back. Jared Hain has made, and if you thought he made his statement last week, he's screaming from a mountaintop in this first quarter.
It's going to be hard to not put that guy on this football team.
Now, last year, the 49ers defeated the Cowboys week 1 in Dallas, and the roundtable perfect combo, 2 first-half touchdown connections between Kaepernick and Vernon Davis.
And from watching Colin in practice in this new offense, Ted, built from scratch, I'm so encouraged that you're going to see his level of play go upward this year. This offense, scheme-wise, I think is an absolute perfect fit for his skill sets.
So now Blaine Gabbert is in. Kaepernick got 2 series. Mike Davis is in. And Mike Davis is inside the 25.
Where the offensive line is just opening huge holes for these running backs. Mike Davis gets in here, first carry. Andrew Tiller and Dylan Farrell just provided a humongous hole right up the middle for him to take it for a first down.
You know, the punctuation mark on that little clip we showed you, those were the only 2 touchdown passes Vernon Davis caught last year, and they were in week 1. I don't think there's any shot we're going to say that this year.
No, I'm with you on that.
So Mike Davis getting some work. Mike Davis and Jared Hayne at running back are likely going to get a decent amount of work in this preseason, as the 49ers are going to be careful with Reggie Bush. And Kendall Hunter is still here, but of course Kendall's coming back from his ACL.
And rightly so. I mean, last week we saw Mike getting it out on the perimeter, really making something out of nothing. Here in this game already, a couple of nice runs in between the numbers down the middle of the field.
And Gabbert comes underneath, nice spin. Mike Davis made the first couple miss and will be inside the 15, just short of a first.
That's what I talked about earlier with the running backs being legitimate passing threats out of the backfield. Mike Davis that time just releases up inside the line, gets a matchup on a linebacker. Gabbert throws the ball on time and very accurate.
All right, 49ers will start the second quarter in the Toyota red zone, a short third. And the Cowboys plug it up. Don't let Mike Davis get it. And now Jim Tomsula will have a call here to make on a short fourth, and he's going to send Phil Dawson out.
That's a really good play by the rookie linebacker Damian Wilson for the Cowboys. When you run a lead, which is the fullback leading up inside, and it was Bruce Miller that time, you got to get movement on that linebacker. Wilson saw it right away and really stuffed that thing in the hole. Nowhere for the running back to go.
33 yards here for Dawson. Again, working as he's been throughout camp with a new holder. And Pinion. Dawson's 2 out of 2. And the 49ers continue with the Jared Hayne punt returns and a pretty good run game. They move the ball. 2 field goals. Now the short drive after Jared Hayne's third terrific punt return. 49ers have 2 field goals for a 6-0 lead. Couple of injured men tonight. With more, let's go down to Dennis.
Yeah, Ted, the 49ers in Houston last week really escaped unharmed. Not the case tonight. Tank Carradine went to the locker room. He has come back, but he does not have his helmet. He had a leg injury. Vance McDonald, who had the reception, suffered an ankle injury. He is out for the rest of the game.
Well, the 49ers traded 2 tight ends away this week because they felt very deep at that position.
Absolutely, and the tight ends, Ted, from just knowing what this scheme is all about, they're going to deploy those guys a lot. They're going to be a huge part of this offense. I suspect all 4 of them, if that's how many are kept on the final roster.
All right, this kick's coming back. Lucky Whitehead on the return, and does a nice job for Dallas, pushing it out near the 25. Lucky Whitehead played at Florida Atlantic University. He was a teammate of Keith Reeser's there. 49ers second-year cornerback. Here's Brandon Whedon. And you have to remember, Brandon Whedon still hasn't been in the NFL that long, but you have to remember he's 31 years old.
That's right. All the years in minor league baseball, and I tell you, Cleveland took a lot of junk for drafting him in the first round, and I guess all the pundits were right as he's on his second team now here early in his career, but very talented.
Ball start. Offense.
They have, Tim, 61. One of the classic
5-yard penalty.
Backup quarterbacks. Their quarterbacks coach Dallas, Wade Wilson, who lasted almost 20 years in the NFL, right, mostly as a backup.
Yeah, I played against Wade when he was with the Minnesota Vikings. They got a lot of coaches now coaching those quarterbacks. Scott Linehan, the offensive coordinator, he can coach quarterbacks. The head coach, Jason Garrett, he was in that role for a long time. So a lot of good coaching. There's Linehan right there. A lot of good coaching for the QBs in Dallas. We saw what a change we saw from Dallas during the season last year after the 49ers played them in week 1. As they go empty and a quick pop over the middle, and that's wrapped up quickly. Lance Dunbar on the catch. Shane Scove there. And this really, schematically, is what I expect a lot of teams to do the 49er defense this year. Shotgun fast pass, 5 guys out, spread the defense, get those linebackers working in coverage. Of course, now it's Moody and Shane Scove, but I can anticipate seeing a lot of that from opposing offenses this year.
And the other player involved there is on the field, 49ers second-round pick, Kwaski Tart, walking up there near the top right-hand of your picture, wearing 29. Craig Dahl's the other safety in this 49er defense. Whedon being chased and gets rid of it just before Lemonnier pops him.
You like that. Good initial pressure and getting pushed by Tony Giardetti, and then Corey Lemonnier is going to drive, and then he's going to see Brandon Whedon trying to pop outside. Here's what you like, the closing speed. Corey Lemonnier has put on 15 or 20 pounds. He is a much bigger guy, Ted, than he was his first 2 years here. And it shows up physically and what he's doing with his upper body and really pushing and extending on guys. You like the fact he hasn't lost that closing speed.
Lemonnier, as he did last week, he's playing the outside left. Rookie Eli Harold is the outside right. Running a stunt there, and it worked. Quentin Dial and Eli Harold ran the stunt on the right side, and it creates a sack.
Nowhere for Whedon to go and no one to throw the ball. There's Dial right there. He pushes it up inside, sets it up beautifully, getting in between the left guard and the left tackle. And once you get into that gap, when you're the setup guy, as Quentin Dial does there, it opens it up for the wrap guy, Eli Harold. And they're able to finish it off for a sack.
Somewhere Justin Smith is watching that and smiling. He made a living doing that, right?
No question.
Take two men out?
You bet.
No Jared Hayne back on that punt return. Instead it was DeAndrew White. But no return chance as the ball skips out, and the 49ers will get Gabbert out for a second possession. Eli Harold, rookie, gets his first NFL sack. A very special pregame ceremony at Levi Stadium tonight as 49ers COO Al Guido unveils a plaque that will go outside the radio broadcast booth here at Levi Stadium. It is now the Lon Simmons broadcast booth, honoring a great man who spent 25 years as the voice of the 49ers. The longest stretch he had with any of the Bay Area teams. He called the Super Bowl famous John Taylor pass as Mike Davis runs on first down. And I can tell you it was an extraordinary honor for me to work with Lon for both the A's and the Giants. And there's no finer man that has ever graced our profession than Lon Simmons. His daughters Robin and Cindy are here today, and Dennis is going to have a lot more about this coming up at halftime.
Yeah, I never had the chance to meet Lon, but listening to you guys, obviously a great broadcaster, got to hear him in the late 80s, but a better man, which you just said to me is what sticks.
Flag down. Gabbert runs out with first down gain, but it's got a look of coming back, and it does. John Perry, our referee, signaling a hold.
Holding, offense, number 68, 10-yard penalty, replay, second down.
And there it is right there, Patrick Miller. He's got a hold of the chest plate and jersey of Randy Gregory, second-round pick of the Cowboys. A lot of people had a first-round grade on him. Very talented rusher. Patrick Miller had his hands full with him right there, literally.
So after the march off, some yardage back there as Gabbert connects with Quinton Patton.
I'll tell you, watching the tape last week and a late pick right there out of Florida, Trenton Brown, I mean, he has got a great chance to be the swing tackle and really has an opportunity to be a great player in this league. Teddy is 6'8", he's 355 pounds. He was road grading guys last week in Houston as a run blocker, and he's got all the tools, man. He's got a chance to be really good. And just saying that, he trips on the offensive lineman and falls down. Looked like somebody stepped on his foot. The guy falls backwards like that. Nevertheless, I think he's really going to have an impact before it's all said and done on this 49ers offensive line.
7th round pick, Ryan Russell, a rookie himself, 5th round pick for Dallas. Got the sack, and so Pinion will punt. This will be a little more of a challenge, it looks like, for Gabbert tonight. He played last week, had a few more of the front offensive linemen in front of him. That one's going to be downed by Craig Dahl. Kind of ran into that as it was bouncing and might have skipped a few more yards back. 6-0 49ers. With Super Bowl 50 on this field, get your chance to have a tour of Levi's Stadium. See this magnificent facility, including the 49ers Museum presented by Sony, all there at levisstadium.com/tours.
Awesome stadium. Good crowd here for a preseason game. And the storyline with the field coming in, Ted, it's held up beautifully.
Dustin Vaughn is now the Dallas quarterback. He is their third. Right now in the depth chart, handing it to Randall. Dustin Vaughn's second year in the Cowboys out of West Texas A&M. And not much for Dallas. Romo 1 drive, and then Brandon Whedon for 3.
Well, you love that.
0 first downs.
Absolutely. 49ers defense getting it done in a big way in this game.
Nice catch there. Good hold of that pass. And Escobar, a very talented player, had a terrific career at San Diego State. With Jason Witten around, he doesn't get many balls thrown to him. But there he does a nice job of catching it away from Skov.
And a big, long target for sure. Hurt his shoulder in the preseason week 1. Got cleared late in the week, and that time again. And that's really a lot of what Houston did last week. Get those tight ends isolated on the linebackers. Watching Skov's reaction, he thought he was breaking on an interception, and Escobar slid right in front of him for the catch in the first down.
And a play action throw to Escobar. And a good tackle. And here's a little test for the rest of this quarter, Tim, with the 49ers going with 2 first-year players at their corners.
And I think you look at these corners, these young guys who really haven't played, and that's a mental error that time by Kenneth Acker, who was on the injured list all year last year. But you saw his closing speed right there. Just a guy that is, you know, young eyes on a football field, you're going to take the bait. And that time all the action went to the left. His eyes took him to the left, and Escobar was leaking out to the right. Got to see that sooner.
Now Keith Reeser has shifted over. He's playing the nickel in the slot. Sharice Wright is the opposite corner from Acker. And Dallas runs the ball and gets a first down with Randall on the carry.
You watch Dallas, and you talked about it in the open, DeMarco Murray and the great year he had last year behind that offensive line and all the carries that he had. So they bring in Darren McFadden, Joseph Randall, a 5th-round pick a few seasons ago out of Oklahoma State. They've got Lance Dunbar. I don't think there's any doubt the Cowboys and Jason Garrett there, the head coach, it's going to be running back by committee for the Cowboys when you talk about their run game this season.
After DeMarco Murray, counting the playoffs last year, had almost 500 touches, 497 between rush and pass in 18 games. That is an astounding amount. And now the question becomes, Tim, is that offensive line good enough that they can run
prior to the delay
other backs behind?
Timeout.
Well, you don't take anything away from DeMarco Murray,
right,
but those guys are really good at mauling people up front and getting pushed. So clearly the Cowboys think so because Murray's in division with the Eagles.
It's an interesting sight. Just missed one, I'll tell you in a second, but that's a little trailblazer. Not the only one, of course. Sarah Thomas has been added this year as a full-time official in the league. Catherine Conti, first female that we've seen work a game at Levi's Stadium. She is the line judge tonight.
Well, she's got her game face on too, and her eyes for a good portion of the game, Ted, will be on those offensive tackles versus the defensive ends or outside linebackers.
First down, pressure, and Mike Purcell! Do you believe this? Rock 'em, Cowboy! Pick 6, Wyoming!
You gotta love it. Everything about that play, and then the payoff, the house call from the nose tackle, who's really earned it with a great training camp so far. and gets himself his first ever NFL touchdown. Really good pressure right up the gut. Shane Scove and the rookie Eric Armstead. Watch Armstead, big 69, right up inside. Purcell getting his hands up to get a block, hits him right in the numbers, and then look at him shaking off guys. Mackenzie Bernadou, the offensive guard, just drips off of the back of Mike Purcell. What a huge athletic play. Little move on the quarterback, slips right by him. Wow.
You can't help but smile.
Love it.
In the preseason, when you see a player like a Mike Purcell, look, it's why we all enjoy watching Hard Knocks, or to see those stories, as Dawson's 33-yard.
Well, I've seen J.J. Watt make a play like that, but not many others.
But
now we've seen Mike Purcell do it. That is great.
I mean, you're talking about a young man. He grew up in Colorado, and he was recruited to play at Colorado State, and the head coach didn't really want him. And so Mike Purcell went to Wyoming. Now, Wyoming is, they play a lot of football up there, but that's pretty tough country.
Well, look at him battling. Ted, 2 offensive linemen, and then puts his eyes on his target, which is the quarterback. He reads the quarterback, Dustin Bond's non-throwing hand coming off the ball. He knows the ball's coming out. He gets his hands up, just hoping for a block or a pass breakup. And then the athleticism to capture that football. And then you saw all the good stuff after. Cutting on the quarterback back, then shaking off Bernadou, and then juicing it into the end zone with speed. That's so much fun to watch.
Mendocino Redwoods defensive. That's just an all-around play of the game by Mike Purcell. And the funny thing is he ended up going to Wyoming. He played there, undrafted. But that guy, because that's the guy. He's the guy that has been the teacher for 2 years for Mike Purcell on the practice squad. And now Mike Purcell's position coach, Scott Brown, is the man that recruited him at Colorado State, but the head coach didn't really want him. And that's why Purcell ended up playing his college football in Wyoming.
And Jimmy T is obviously, Coach Tom Sula, been great for Mike Purcell, but Scott Brown now, and there's no question he's had an impact on Mike Purcell knowing him. And I had a good opportunity to talk to Coach Brown this week during the week of practice. Very good person, kind of pulled out of the woodwork, right, as a scout, now back in the mix as a coach, and probably nobody happier than Mike Purcell than Coach Brown right now.
And of course you get, and we talked a little bit about this last week in Houston, and about the 3rd year being so crucial. And there's a limit to the practice squad time at some point, as Shane Scove slowed up Randall, and then teammates helped finish. But this is a year, and that's why I asked Mike Purcell earlier this week, do you feel like it's your time now? Are you ready? He goes, yes. Well, more ready now than ever.
And that's obvious with what he's putting on the field and with what he's putting on tape, which is important. I mean, always hard to really try to project how many defensive linemen are going to make the roster. I mean, based on his play so far, he's got an unbelievable shot in terms of the numbers game and being one of those guys, but he will not be on a practice squad here, because if somehow he goes to the practice squad, I would assume, based on his play, he'll be playing somewhere else on an active roster.
Vaughn did a nice job to pull down the snap, then hits Whitehead just short of a first down.
Because that's the deal now. Another team wants to pull a player off another team's practice squad, they've got to immediately put him on the active roster.
Gerard Eddy gets out here quick.
One thing I think that shows up, and this defense was on the field 74 plays last week, and obviously a variety of guys, but this team, in terms of physical conditioning, Ted, and how hard they work and how fast they practice versus the up-tempo offense, there's no doubt the conditioning is outstanding.
We got a quick look there at Scott Brown, urging on his team. Meanwhile, the Cowboys run it on the 3rd down short. Randall gets the first.
There's Coach Brown right here. I talked to him during the week. Said he thought he was done in terms of the coaching. And then when the opportunity arose with Jimmy T giving him a call, say, would you come in and coach the defensive line, just absolutely thrilled. That guy's been around a long time. Coached a lot of football.
Cowboys haven't crossed midfield in this first half. McFadden did the running early. Randall's doing it now.
And
that gets into me back to the point we were talking about just before we went to a commercial there, is that, you know, you're going to ask, it's such a difference when you get 500 touches out of one guy who was super productive last year. Can you split that, let's say, between 3 guys and get the same productivity?
Absolutely. And Randall has been the guy that I think a lot of people anticipated. Then they went out and got Darren McFadden in free agency. So I could easily see McFadden, if healthy, getting 14, 15 carries a game, and Joseph getting the other 10, 11, 12 carries.
Vaughn was about to get popped from the backside by Harold. Got rid of the ball incomplete. Again, of course, you're seeing this tonight without Romo, without Des Bryant, without Jason Witten, all the other weapons that Dallas will have out there starting week 1.
There's Darren McFadden right there. We're in that familiar number 20.
Without Terrence Williams, who's been a good second receiver for
No
them.
doubt. No, their run game, really their balance on offense. And really with Romo, there's Des Bryant taking full ownership of this offense. Equally effective both running and throwing the football.
Now a long third for Dustin Vaughn. And the Cowboys. And that ball broken up. Incomplete. The intended receiver is a rookie tight end, Jeff Swaim. That's L.J. McCray in on the 49er cover.
And Jaquaski Tart as well, the second-round pick, both of them. L.J. McCray and Tart doing a great job reading the quarterback and then driving on the football. And L.J. McCray ends up getting the hit on Jeff Swaim, but both of those young safeties on the back end doing a good job bursting up to the ball to make a play.
So once again, we get a punt coming here, and it's DeAndrew White. Does field a short hop. Well, 49ers' best plays of the first half have been punt returns. They'll have a flag down on this one, and that was the one thing maybe that stood out to me other than Haynes running. On Haynes' 3 long punt returns, not a single flag, which in the preseason, special teams plays are always flag ridden.
No doubt. It looks like you see there it's going to get a hold over near the sideline.
During the return,
maybe on Garrett Selleck.
Return team number 88, 10-yard penalty.
Eagle eye. Tim Ryan in the preseason all over this.
No.
Man.
You see there's Selleck there,
Yeah.
88, right out on the perimeter. And that's usually the one that they see is the guy right in front of that last cut by either the runner or the returner. And you saw the vision point there of the official and then threw the flag. But that's an area, Ted, no doubt, this team needed to improve on in terms of the special teams, both covering and especially returning. Jared Hayne in this game on his returns, 28 yards a punt return. Incredible.
Flag again as Mike Davis made a nice reversal of field there to gain yardage. But that's coming back on a hold.
Holding. Offense. Number 76. 10-yard penalty. First down.
So where the 49ers are now after the first quarter has gone to all of the men that are competing now to see if they can win a job on the offensive line.
Hey, that's Sean Huey right there blocking down.
After the penalty, 1st and 20 at the 17-yard line.
And again, just like on the punt return, it was right in front of the cut by the running back, and really the last thing the official sees is the ball carrier makes his cut.
All right, so off the long first down, short run play to Mike Davis. Well, 49ers.com, which features all of the great work of 49ers Studios, 49ers Live, which will keep going through the regular season. It's a perfect one-stop shop for all things 49ers. Another second down run.
And another of Mike Davis making something out of nothing. I mean, Jonathan Brown, defender for Dallas, sitting right in the hole, ready to tackle Mike for no gain, and a really nifty little cut.
30-second timeout.
Right there. It's a little jump cut to the side and ends up getting himself a few yards.
You show 90. 4 and 1. And so I was watching on the field here with Huey out there, Tim. Mike Davis, there you see his numbers, but the Cowboys had an interesting draft this year. In essence, they feel like they have 3 first-round picks, and that's one of them, Randy Gregory.
Oh, yeah.
Picked in the 2nd round out of Nebraska. And here he is not playing in a backup pass rush role, but a lot of people felt like he was first-round talent.
Yeah, and just had obviously some behavior and off-the-field issues. There's no doubt he's a first-round talent out of Nebraska. When you watched him play in college, fell to the 2nd round, so they feel like they have great value. You say the same with Lyle Collins, who they got out of LSU.
We'll see him when they get the ball back. He has been in the game as Collins. Gabbert, nice job of finding something. And now Quentin Patton making the grievous mistake of, this is the NFL, that didn't work.
No. Not only did he reverse field, but then really started retreating, running back towards the 49er goal line. Good job by Gabbert, really not panicking as that pocket's closing in on him, extends himself out of the play, dumps it off right here. If you're Patton, go north and south. Get what you can get. So he reverses, and then that's the big one right there now as he really retreated.
That's about a 17, 18 yard
and it changes
loss.
field position.
Absolutely.
I mean, totally.
Just a mistake.
Dallas get the ball near midfield.
And Whitehead's, that's good punt cover by the 49ers. And you see a guy like Moody down there covering punts. So Dallas, we're still shy of the 2-minute warning, and they will get the ball. This will be their best drive start, just shy of the 40. Well, it's been a very solid defensive half. Again, Romo for the first series. Whedon, the backup, played 3 series. And the pick by Mike Purcell, run back for a touchdown, came off the arm of Dustin Vaughn.
And certainly talked about one thing to improve defensively was the pass defense. 19 yards. And that's pretty darn good. Not only the one sack, but some good pressure by Eric Armstead and some other guys that forced that interception.
All right, first rounder Armstead is on the field here in that 4-man front. So is Purcell. And Vaughn finds an open man. That's a good throw. Best for Dallas, their first time in 49er territory on the completion to a name that is familiar, A.J. Jenkins.
Lost his shoe on the play.
First round pick here, did not work. Went to Kansas City for 2 years, had some playing time, not much. Chiefs let him go, and they're trying to keep himself viable here in Dallas.
Well, there's no doubt this is the best throw of the game for the Cowboys. Dustin Vaughn going to get ejected right there by Mike Purcell. Knowing he's going to get hit, just threads the needle to A.J. Jenkins in front of Keith Reeser, the corner, and Craig Dole, the safety.
Navarro Bowman got on the field, played the first 3 defensive snaps for the 49ers. His first game since January of 14.
And not only did he get on the field, the 3 plays he was in, he was perfect.
So final 2 minutes, Cowboys are in San Francisco territory for the first time in the half. And Vaughn's pass incomplete. We just had Jim Mercurio, Vice President of Operations for the 49ers in Levi Stadium, came in, and 61,000 in the stadium, which is really impressive for a preseason game.
The atmosphere is awesome.
And the nice feeling in this first half. Now, it's still the first half, but in the first half, the field has not yet been a story.
No,
that's wonderful.
It's held up great, and I think what the fans have seen here in this first half is certainly going to be a little more of what the real team's going to look like when it gets real here Monday night against Minnesota.
That's picked by Craig Dole. Pass was a little bit behind Whitehead, and Craig Dole made the leaping pick.
And what a difference versus what we all saw last week against Houston. Watch Craig Dole sitting back and just drive on this ball. I mean, he sees it coming out right away to Lucky Whitehead, and he just, watch him put his foot in the ground and drive and go make that play. And that's not an easy interception now. I mean, Lucky Whitehead, had his arms in there trying to make a play as well, and Craig Dole just muscles it away from him. Technique perfect, the finish even better.
That's a great call. Actually, you see it there in the review. It was not behind him. Dole took it. So the 49ers have a chance now to run some 2-minute offense with Gabbert. And a completion.
And you love this if
Jerome
you're Jeep
Simpson.
Chris. You love it if you're the offensive coordinator because you get an opportunity, and there's Jeep right there. You get an opportunity to run a situation that's absolutely vital in pro football, the hurry up, the 2-minute drill. Thank the defense.
Mike Davis trying to pick his way up the middle, and he did get some yardage. The other story, Tim, it's much more pleasant to talk about football. In a game and a half operation hasn't been a problem for the 49er offense. Patton gets it down inside the 40. It'll be 3rd down.
We're going to see a lot more of that, too, I think, out of the offense. Throwing to the running backs and throwing to the running backs on time.
It'll be 2nd down for the 49ers when we come back out of a timeout. Jeep Christ, who has been in this offense with the 49ers for 4 years now, the first time as the offensive coordinator as Gabbert is run out of bounds.
And I've talked to Jeep about Blaine Gabbert and really what the expectations are for the backup quarterback. And Jeep said he's totally a different guy. He knows this offense. This offense suits his talents and his skill sets. And you saw it right there. I mean, just feeling the rush, putting his foot in the ground, and now creating a 3rd and short and picking up some yards with his legs. He is a more talented runner than people think.
They're trying to run it. Oh, Dallas stops Mike Davis. There's also a flag down, which the Cowboys might decline if it's against the 49ers. Not in field goal range here. And it is a penalty against San Francisco.
And those are the things Coach Tom Sula wants to get cleaned up now. I mean, penalties are, coaches don't like them anyway, but especially when they happen on 3rd down. Almost intolerable, especially 3rd and short.
Holding. Offense number 88. 10-yard penalty. 3rd down.
All right, Jason Garrett's taking the yards on the hold called against Selleck. And of course, this week, Tim, was a statement of sorts of confidence in Selleck and his blocking strength as the 49ers traded away 2 tight ends.
To me, he looks like a different guy, and I think you're on it in terms of his importance to this football team and what their expectations are of him.
And there Dallas comes in and gets the sack of Gabbert, knocking the 49ers back on the other side of midfield, and that's a former Stanford standout, Ben Gardner, who spent last year on injured reserve for Dallas.
And just goes right around Justin Renfro, to the inside. Showed the outside rush, countered to the inside. Gabbert stepped up, and Gabbert brought him down, or Gardner, brought him down for the sack.
So the 49ers, instead of trying to generate points off the 2-minute, instead go to the punt here as the clock winds down. And Lucky Whitehead's going to try to run, see if he can do what Hayne did. And Whitehead gets a little bit of space out to the 25, but just time for one snap for Dallas.
Looked like Kenneth Acker hurt his hand there as he was diving to tackle Lucky Whitehead.
So no offensive touchdowns in this first half. 2 49er close calls, especially one to the end zone to Torrey Smith that was broken up. But the only touchdown is going to be a pick 6 by Mike Purcell, nose tackle.
You see Acker holding his left hand right there. Could see that when he dove down at the legs of Whitehead covering him. You know, what you want to see is for the offense, if there's any criticism, it's 0 for 2 in the red zone and the 3rd down stuff. Those are the things that Jeep Christ and Jimmy Tom Sula will talk about at halftime and certainly throughout the preseason, that they need to get cleaned up along with the holding calls.
All right, so the 49ers leave the field with a crisp look first half. Couple of holding penalties that were small blemishes. Defense was very strong.
Defense was tremendous in the first half.
All right, let's hear it right now from 49er coach Jim Tom Sula with Dennis.
Okay, Jim, you're a defensive guy. You must be loving this first half.
Yeah, well, I'm not real happy with the penalties.
Tell me about Purcell. Obviously stood out last week, and he had the touchdown return tonight.
Yeah, Mike was playing good football. It's good for him.
Jared Hayne made a beautiful over-the-shoulder catch, and again for the second week in a row, he's a big story. How happy you're about seeing him perform?
Yeah, we're second game of the preseason. Just got to keep working.
What were your overall impressions of the half?
Well, I don't like the penalties. Okay, we got a couple of problems right there. In the protection and the penalties with the young guys. So got to clean that up.
All right, Jim, thanks a lot. Jim Tomsula, the head coach, backed up to you guys.
All right, that last answer that I think set up the protection, I'm sure had to bother him. Gabbert didn't have much of a chance in that second quarter. Well, coming up on our Toyota halftime show, a wonderful honor as we'll listen to some of the greatest 49er moments as they were called by the incomparable Lon Simmons. The 49ers into the locker room with a 13-0 halftime lead from Levi Stadium. We'll be right back. An impressive number. The 49ers with the lead. Here's another stat, Tim Ryan. Navarro Bowman played 3 plays in the first half and had 3 tackles.
Yeah, impact.
When was your last perfect game? I'm trying to remember.
Never. Had a couple perfect practices, never a perfect game.
That's pretty impressive.
So good to see him out there, and that's what we've seen, though, when you watch him in training camp and watch him in practice. I mean, mentally, he's all over it in terms of, getting his keys and making his reads and diagnosing the play and going and getting it. The beauty is it translated right back to real football on that first drive.
So DeAndrew White, the free agent wide receiver out of Alabama. Ooh, like that. He ran right into a white shirt that was pretty much unblocked there, and that's Tim Scott covering the kick for Dallas.
Like Tim Scott just ran right by the blocker responsible for blocking him. Nobody hit him, and just an earhole shot on DeAndrew White. I mean, he is just totally unblocked and never got off his path. Puts his helmet on the earhole of DeAndrew.
All right, so the 49ers don't get the first play off cleanly.
Dallas had 12 guys on the field.
5-yard penalty. First down.
Preseason football rearing its head.
Absolutely, and that's a rule now that changed a few years ago. I think it was the Patriots-Giants in the Super Bowl, the game in Indianapolis, 12 guys on defense, and now it's just blown dead immediately. As soon as the officials see it, boom, blown dead. Throw the flag, penalize them.
And Gabbert off the play action throwing, and that's tight end Xavier Grimble on the catch.
Pretty good catch by Grimble, scooping it up off the ground, really. Gabbert had pressure right in his face. That ball down near the ankles of Grimble, and he's able to scoop it up.
The one tight end I don't recall seeing, Tim, do you, Blake Bell?
I saw him some in the first half.
Did? Okay.
Yeah, we saw him some in the first half. Utilized as a blocker more than anything. There was hardly any passing success at all in the first half.
The 49ers, unlike last Saturday, did not give Gabbert much of a chance in the first half to do anything as Hayne gets a carry here. So Jared Hayne, who did not run from scrimmage in the first half, does so to start the second.
Obviously awesome in the return game. But if you're going to keep a specialist in terms of a returner, you love him to be able to contribute in other areas. And obviously this is the area that Jared Hayne's got to be able to do it. Good job there, making a couple of guys miss and getting close to that first down marker.
Right, there's a little test for your offensive line. Now Gabbert's going to keep it, and he'll run again into a man. That was Blake Bell, who didn't get the defender blocked, and Keith Smith, linebacker, makes the tackle. Former San Jose State Spartan. So the 49ers, let's say Jim Tomsula was not thrilled with the protection, Tim. He mentioned that to Dennis going off the field. I would say the overall blocking second quarter went on, and here has not been sharp.
Well, defense has got an advantage, I think, when you get down to the third teamers. A lot of these offensive linemen be a challenge to make an NFL roster.
Well, Lucky Whitehead got a little gap, and boy, he doesn't go down. Quentin Patton wrapped him up but didn't tackle him. And Whitehead runs it all the way down inside the 40. So Lucky Whitehead giving Dallas a little spark, and their first possession will start inside the San Francisco 40. Indicates 170 days to Super Bowl 50, which will be played on this field. A long time coming to get the Super Bowl back in Northern California. To commemorate the 50-yard line here and on all NFL fields this year will be in gold. To commemorate the anniversary of the Super Bowl, and such a special one to be played in this stadium. So Dallas to the ground, and a good run to the outside left there by Michael Hill.
Well, Dallas just jumping into a 3 tight end set and just running the power run game out to the edge. You got to set the edge better if you're the corner out here. Sharice Wright as the force guy. I mean, Desmond Bishop does a terrific job blitzing up on the inside and forcing that thing to go wide. The force guy against those multiple tight ends is the corner. And Sharice Wright makes a business decision, goes down to the ground, and that really is what gave up the edge to Michael Hill.
49ers have Lawrence Okoye out there on the right defensive end spot, giving him those game reps again as Hill gets spun around and dropped.
Another good play by Bishop.
And so Tim, this week I talked to Lawrence Okoye. And Lawrence Okoye, who of course is another third-year player, coming off, never had football pads on until 2 years ago. And asking him how he felt last week to have a couple of good rushes in Houston. He said, great, but he said, the thing I need to play. He said, it's the way I get better, game reps.
Absolutely. Hard to get better in practice because you can't simulate game speed and game action and going against an opponent you don't know. I talked to him as well, and I told him good job on some plays, and his critique of himself was just get off the blocks quicker and make the play.
To the goal line, incomplete. High pass there with L.J. McCray on the coverage of tight end Brandon Barden.
I also talked to Lawrence about, look, as a defensive lineman, when you see the non-throwing hand come off the ball by the quarterback and you know you're not going to get there, good bull rush there, get your hands up. And look what happens. As soon as that non-throwing hand comes off, and he already knew that, but just as a reminder, get your hands up and make them throw through that picket fence.
That's a good job. Lawrence Okoye also talking a little bit about the Jared Haynes situation. As on third down, Vaughn will be chased by Lemonnier and fires what should be picked, and it's collided. That was an interception that should have been, and it was two 49ers, L.J. McCray, and let's see the other man that collide. And neither man comes away with it.
And really good pressure right here by Eric Armstead, the first-round pick. I mean, look at that push that forces Dustin Vaughn out, and then Corey Lemonnier goes to clean it up, and then both LJ and Dante Johnson knocked themselves off the potential third interception of the game.
Yeah, we didn't see much of Dante Johnson in the first half.
No, we
there
didn't.
He was. So that gives Dallas a chance to score points here. 43-yard try by Dan Bailey. Good, strong-legged kicker. Had 5 over 50 last year. And he drills that one. No good. Flag down. Flag down. 4th and 8. The situation.
Well, we're going to see if somebody pushed one of the rushers.
There is no foul for illegal formation. Kick was no good.
All right.
Timeout on the field.
Somebody thought the 49ers were lined up improperly, and John Perry said, no. Mason Garrett, frustrated. Should have had 3 points there. By Jack in the box, will the 49ers bring in another offensive lineman via free agency? The one name that's out there everybody's talking about is the veteran Evan Mathis.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be Evan Mathis in terms of, he's a good player, but an older player. I think they're committed to the young guys. I really do. Now, who knows who becomes available in final cuts and how they look on tape, but when Kilgore gets back playing center, they're going to have a lot of options playing that right guard position.
So Dylan Thompson, the third quarterback for the 49ers, is in. Jared Haynes gets the carry. There's Thompson out of South Carolina. And we should reference, by the way, you referenced Daniel Kilgore. He was at least walking. He has gotten off the scooter Saw him walking around the practice field this week, a good sign. Unlikely to be ready for week 1.
And I think absolutely the key right in the middle of that offensive line, which then allows Looney and Marcus Martin and Brandon Thomas and Ian Silberman, he's in the mix as well, to really focus on that right guard position.
So now Hayne pushing the ball across the 40.
Unbelievable on special teams in the first half. That's the first punt return. Just a big bomb out-kicked his coverage. Hayne makes a great catch and then just making people miss. Watch this little move right there. Those gunners are so athletic. To make those guys miss, then stick his foot in the ground and get vertically north and south up the field. You average 9 yards a punt return in this league, you're pretty good. 28 yards a return on those 3 returns.
That was our Mendocino power performer. Here's a power run by Hayne. And Jared Hayne to the Dallas 25.
Look, we've all watched a lot of preseason football this year. I'll say it right now. This is the story of the preseason in pro football. It really is. This guy has never played football before. A terrific rugby player, but just his abilities and learning the terminology and the line calls. Look at him switch the ball into the left hand, a wicked straight arm. Jared Hayne has been fantastic. Not just for this team, but the story around the NFL and globally is awesome.
Tim, there's a wonderful phrase in Australia. The Aussies are fabulous people, love sport, and the wonderful phrase they use is "no worries, mate." No worries, no worries. As if to say, no problem, don't worry about it, no worries. Jared Hayne is putting together a no worries first 2 weeks here.
I hate to say it, but I bet a few more shrimp are going on the bobby. You know they're excited. How do you control them from not celebrating Ted in the press box?
So it's interesting. I talked to Lawrence Okoye about this week, and I asked him, have you talked to Jared Hayne much, given what Lawrence went through, coming from another country? And he said no. Not really, because he said Jared's journey is much different than mine. And Jared Hayne had played a ball sport, Lawrence hadn't, but he really said, I know what it's like when you have a lot of people in your ear, from home, the media coming to cover, and so I've really tried to let Jared alone. Jared Hayne got asked in his press conference, have you talked to Lawrence Okoye? And Jared Hayne, you can tell he's being very polite. He goes, oh, sure, Lawrence has given me help, told me things. And Jared Hayne was being proper in front of the amassed media. Lawrence was very respectful when he said, no, I've tried to stay out of the way and leave him to himself.
And it's totally different. I mean, for Okoye, I think it's a tougher transition because he's a lineman and he's in the trenches. Running back is so instinctual, but get the ball and run. But so much of the terminology and the vernacular that come with it, you know, those linemen are making line calls, protections are changing, defense is making adjustments. That stuff to me is pretty amazing mentally, as fast as Jared Hayne has learned it.
A 3-yard gain, 4th and 5 at the 20-yard line.
Well, Lawrence Okoye, of course, was a discus thrower, a fabulous athlete, trying to make that transition to this sport with pads for the first time. Jared Hayne, you mentioned he's used to a ball sport, he's used to contact, it just wasn't with pads. And Jared Hayne played rugby league, and I've been instructed this week there's two versions of rugby. He played rugby league, which is 13 men aside. As Mario Acosta gets a chance to kick for the 49ers, and he drills through a field goal to give San Francisco an extra 3 onto their lead. A little Bud Light trivia for you. What current 49ers offensive players were drafted in the first round? Not one of them was the man who just kicked that field goal. Let me make apologies to his family. That's Corey Acosta. He's a rookie out of southern Mississippi that just kicked that field goal. It's a thrill for him. Every NFL team brings in somebody as basically a camp kicker, and he's trying to impress people that down the road, somewhere, sometime he gets that chance. Phil Dawson.
I think the number is 4 in terms of offensive players that were first-round picks.
Phil Dawson's kick going to be run back. In the end zone here by Ben Molina with a flag down, and Molina's down just across the 20.
Flags on the field.
During the return, Holding. Return team number 60. 10-yard penalty. First and 10.
I feel much more like preseason now. There's a flag on every special teams play. And that's going to ship Dallas 10 yards back when we return. For a Bud Light trivia question, I think the operative word here is current because there's been some changes to this answer, but the answer today is Tim.
And I know this one, and I'm typically bad. Reggie Bush, Vernon Davis, Joe Staley, and Blaine Gabbert. 3 of those 4, 10 or better, 10 or higher.
Yeah. And of course, just since the last game here, Mike Iupati, Anthony Davis, Michael Crabtree all would have been involved in that answer. All of them 49ers first-round picks that are no longer here. So Dallas backed up inside their 10. Dustin Vaughn continuing as the quarterback. And we should also mention, as Michael Hill carries, that Brandon Whedon, who played briefly in the first half, was taken to the locker room. We weren't told that right away, but he was taken off and apparently being examined after a blow to the head.
Yeah, they're going to need him in terms of the backup quarterback. Desmond Bishop, Ted, he had a little calf pull last week in Houston. He has played well in this game, and look, he hasn't started any games since he tore his hamstring in 2011 with the Green Bay Packers, and there's going to be, you know, a 4th inside linebacker kept on this football team, I would think, and right now he's probably the guy that is in the lead for that 4th spot.
And for those of you joining us on KPIX, 60 Minutes can be seen on KBCW at 7 o'clock. Nice, what a spin move by Bishop. Wow, now that's a heck of a completion. Give Dustin Vaughn credit because he stood in there and delivers that ball. It's going to be a fun replay to watch.
Well, Vaughn has made a couple of big-time throws with pressure in his face. Watch Bishop and watch the spin move coming back inside on the running back. I mean, that is ridiculously good.
When you say that people, running backs have to block in the NFL, there's your exhibit A.
You don't see a lot of linebackers when they get matched up on those running backs using the spin move. Either the arm over or just try to run them over, but that was really good.
And Dustin Vaughn did deliver that ball. That's quite impressive. The previous pass to Jeff Swain, who's a 7th-round draft pick himself from Texas, trying to impress the Cowboys. That's Nick Ballore, number 50. First time we've seen him. Nick Ballore was a free agent pickup by the Niners from the New York Jets in the offseason. And it's the first time we've seen him play.
And special teams guru coming over from the Jets. As you said, first time seeing him play has been nicked up through training camp. Be interesting when you talk about that inside linebacker population and really how many backers they keep in general. Ballore's got good versatility in terms of cross-trained inside or outside. Good rush there. Oh,
that's a big-time hole. Another terrific Dallas catch.
That's a big-time hit.
Yes, it was.
Jaquiski Tart.
And A.J. Jenkins, I'm almost speechless. He held the ball.
And that may be the hardest he's hit in terms of holding on to it. And you love the hit because it's low, it's not up high, it's with the shoulder. That's a really good job by Jenkins hanging on to the ball, but equally impressive with Tart. His role and his versatility on this defense, I think, is going to be something to watch this year.
Flags down. And just give A.J. Jenkins credit, and there has to be some internal motivation for him coming back here to
Ball
play.
start. Offense number 87. 5-yard penalty. First down.
Against the 49ers. But you talk about a guy that's taking a shot tonight to make an impression on Dallas.
No doubt.
That's a heck of a catch.
I remember when he was here, he had drops. I mean, he dropping the football and the light not going on consistently.
The last game of 2012 was
absolutely
a memorable drop of an underneath drag
that's got to be one of his better
reflective
catches
of his 1 year
in the pro game, and taking that vicious shot from Tartan, hanging on to it.
overthrown. So you think of the difference right now, this point in the game, Tim, and here's another example of what we're talking about. Dustin Vaughn's playing, but he's got in front of him the guy wearing 71. We touched on him earlier. Lyle Collins, who had a massive off-field issue at LSU that caused him to not be drafted. His agent at one point was going to petition the league to have him be in next year's draft. Dallas signed him, undrafted free agent, and the guy, again, the first-round talent.
Absolutely. We'll watch him on tape in that first game against the Chargers in the preseason, and that first-round talent showed up. And all that stuff, from what I understand, all cleared up and no longer being looked at for any of that off-the-field stuff. Feel bad for the guy.
Vaughn stepped away from the Purcell rush, and then he's clipped down in the open field by Bishop.
Got to be happy for Desmond Bishop, just with what he's been through. And the guy started 27 games for the Green Bay Packers. Can play in a 3-4, can play in a 4-3 defense. Last week you saw him wait a little bit on what ended up being a first down, and not tonight. I mean, he's seeing it and he's going and getting it. It's a good story to see him back and in the mix and begin to lead when you talk about that fourth linebacker to make this football team. He's got the experience and he's made the plays so far in these first 2 preseason games.
Screen set up, flag down, Molina down, another flag. 2 separate fouls here. That may negate the play and give Dallas another chance.
For me, and I know it gets sloppy, Ted, you talked about it, and the coaches know it as well, with a lot of these guys that aren't going to be on the team that are out there playing. Rich Bisaccia there, the special teams coach, a good one. But for me, and everyone's
2 fouls
getting
in the play,
evaluated.
both by the offense. Pass interference, number 17. Penalties decline. Holding, number 75. That penalty is enforced. 10 yards, 3rd down.
So the play will stand, and Dallas will get 3rd down again, but it's going to be a lot longer.
There's the overt push out there. 17 out on the island. Getting the offensive pass interference. But for me, it's really about...
Correction, both penalties have been declined.
All right, so
result
now
of the play, 4th down.
John Perry actually went to Jim Thompson and said, no, we'll make him punt.
Number one, no injuries, obviously. You get through these latter part of the games and all of preseason without any injuries. But my eyes now on the young guys, the young draft picks. Eric Armstead, watching him play. Watching Jaquaski Tart play. Watching Kenneth Acker play. Watching Dante and continuing to play out at corner. I mean, that's where my eyes are going, right to these young guys.
So Tom Hornsey dropping the nose there, hitting the rugby punt. And DeAndrew White with a fair catch. That's what the Aussies have done. That's the biggest import until Jared Haynes showed up, right? All right, here's another Ask Tim question brought to you by Jack in the Box. Well, there's the magic question that 14 days ago, I'm not sure we would have had a real good answer, Tim. This guy's providing an answer.
Well, number one, he's got to make the final 53 first. And how many running backs they keep, hard to speculate. We don't know that, but there's no doubt it's going to be hard to keep him off the roster, Ted, based on what we've seen so far. I think you look at Hyde, you look at Kendall Hunter, Reggie Bush, Mike Davis. There's good running backs. His biggest role certainly will start as a return man based on what we've seen.
And Hayne gets yardage off the right side. So, of course, Jared Hayne, who made a declaration last fall in Australia that he was going to leave the Australian Rugby League to pursue an American football career. There was a possibility at one point he would sign with Detroit, but there was a visa issue involved for Hayne that derailed that. And eventually, Jim Tomsula winds up playing a big role in his decision to come to San Francisco.
Yeah, I think you're right about that. Jimmy's got experience coaching guys who never played before. You talked about Lawrence Okoye earlier. And Jim Caldwell's a fine man, the head coach of the Detroit Lions. No question, but in terms of the personality and the likability, got to go with Jimmy T.
What, 8 years, I believe, for Tomsula in NFL Europe, including the 1 year that he was a head coach with the Rhine Fire.
And he was going and recruiting guys to play in that league. I mean,
Dylan Thompson. And he finds Blake Bell for a first down. So rookie to rookie there. Bell, the 4th round pick out of Oklahoma.
You talked earlier, Ted, about the 2 tight ends moved off the roster this week with Asante Cleveland traded to New England, and then Derek Carrier traded to the Washington Redskins. I think a big part of it, we talked about Garrett Selleck and Vance McDonald and Vernon Davis, but this guy right here and his versatility, Blake Bell, is really in a multitude of roles. Can run after the catch, can block, can line up at a lot of different places. He's going to see a uniform in a lot of games this year.
Now, Hain was brought down for a loss. The problem was he was brought down by the face mask. So 49ers will get yardage and a first down out of this. Whoops, right there. Ryan Russell.
Personal foul, face mask, defense, number 99, 15-yard penalty from the end of the run, automatic first down.
And Tim, we have to say that Hain's not the only Aussie here tonight. The man we just saw punt and drop the nose to kick that Aussie rugby-style punt, as we called it. Tom Hornsey is from Australia, and that's the more traditional route. He played Australian rules football and then went to a special academy in Australia where they teach people to kick.
Yep.
In the style that would translate to American football, and that's we've seen quite a few punters from
Ben
Australia.
Graham, I know one of them certainly, right, with San Diego Chargers.
Darren Bennett. Matt McBriar.
Yep.
Sav Roca. And they all came out of Aussie rules football. That's the difference with Hain coming out of rugby league. All right, so Hain getting a little breather there, and that, I believe that is Kendall Gaskins coming in. Ben Gardner on the Dallas hit. So once again, from the 49ers standpoint, another second preseason game here with no Reggie Bush and no Kendall Hunter. And my understanding from talking to Jim Tom Sewell this week, we'll see a little bit of Reggie Bush next Saturday in Denver.
Reggie will do his work on Sundays when it's real football, and he'll get a couple opportunities, like you said. Jimmy is certainly truthful in what he says, but Reggie knows pro football. You got to protect Reggie Bush from Reggie Bush, because if you tell Reggie to go practice and to go play in a preseason game, Reggie's going to grind and absolutely try to tear it up. And with his talents and his skill sets and what he's going to be asked to do this year, I think a lot as a receiver out of the backfield, he doesn't need to do it.
Gaskins running ahead. Going to be stopped short. 49ers will be in Denver, and that'll be our next telecast here on the KPIX television network. It'll be Saturday night. 49ers are going to Denver early. They're going to practice against the Broncos this week prior to the Saturday game.
And I think we're going to see so much more when you talk Reggie Bush and Jeep Chris now with this new offense and how they run it. And Jimmy knows it, building the offense for the skill set of the team. Much more throws to the tight ends, Ted, into the running backs. More screen plays. I don't know about you, but I can't wait to see a screen out to the left side with Reggie Bush behind Joe Staley and Alex Boone.
The end of the third quarter.
End of the third. We start the fourth quarter. Ted Robinson, Tim Ryan, Dennis O'Donnell on the KPIX preseason television network. We'll have the fifth quarter. Don't forget to stay with us. Dennis and Vern Glenn will be along for all the postgame. Pinion punting away. Nick Harwell lets it hit and perfectly placed. Kicked a little bit and eventually down by the 49ers. It'll be around the 5-yard line where it was first hit.
Best punt of the preseason for him, no doubt.
His first touch by Kyle Nelson coming down on the cover, but still at the 6-yard line, perfect.
And this is that rugby style kick you were talking about, that end over end kick. And the idea is that when that thing hits, it bounces straight up or backwards, and that's exactly what happened. Really good job by everybody. Quentin Patton getting his heels near the goal line and kind of protecting anything that gets pushed that way, and Gaskins and Kyle Williams getting down there to down it.
Not often in recent football years have we seen a team invest a draft pick in a punter. That just demonstrates so much belief in Pinion. I'm trying to think. It was Jacksonville drafted Brian Anger a few years back out of Cal, right? I can't think of any other draft pick for a punter in recent years. Third round, Anger was. And of course, Pena, not just a punter, but the strong leg kickoff that.
Well, I think if there was any criticism, he does have that massive leg of coming out of Clemson. I remember getting ready for the draft. It was some of his directional punting. Haven't seen a lot of opportunity in the first 2 games here, but in practice, he looks like he's got that fixed.
Brian Hampton telling me the average for the league draft is 5th round for the first punter off the board, which is somewhat frightening that Brian knows that.
I remember, I think it was 1991, and it was another, I think it was a Clemson punter when I was in Chicago. Chris Gardocki was drafted in the 3rd round.
Yeah.
Look that up, though. I think he was out of Clemson, left-footed punter.
Well, of course, I think anybody that appreciates football loves the fact that punting was finally acknowledged when Ray Guy was put in the Hall of Fame.
Well, Ray could have lined up and played safety too now. Let's not forget that.
Well, what a weapon.
No doubt.
And to his credit, Andy Lee was often that, especially during the 3 real good years for the 49ers. And Vaughn's clipped down from behind. That is Marcus Rush, who is another undrafted player out of Michigan State trying to use these games to make his case.
I was talking to Jason Tarver, outside linebacker coach, this week, and just watch him run the corner, getting the hands down, dipping, and then working that outside arm and chopping and never giving up. He said Marcus Rush has improved so much just with his ability to turn those hips and get around the corner, and that was a great example of it right there.
Block punt, touchdown, Quentin Patton. And that has to feel real good given a couple of plays earlier tonight. A big makeup for Quentin Patton.
Yeah, not a bunch offensively for Patton, but watch this as he comes from the right side and just dips right underneath the blocker right there, and that's perfect. I mean, that block point is 9.5, 10 yards. You want to get your hands up and almost take it off the foot of the punter. You couldn't do it any better if you're Quentin Patton. A couple of good special teams plays by him. None better than that one.
So the 49ers tonight with a defensive touchdown and a special teams touchdown. And now we'll add a point. They'll kick it. No 2-point plays tonight by San Francisco. And it'll be Corey Acosta who will kick it.
So many good things, Ted, to build off from this game. You want to get better in some areas in terms of the red zone and punching it in. I thought the first drive from the offense was outstanding, especially running the football. And then Colin Kaepernick making some really good reads, made a great throw, trying to get the touchdown. It was just a great play by the corner for the Cowboys. Knock it out of there.
Corey Acosta from Memphis, majored in biological sciences in southern Mississippi. Quentin Patton making a big special teams play. Annual 49ers Rush presented by Subway. It's a unique endurance event held right here at Levi Stadium on Saturday, September 19th. All are welcome to celebrate fitness. You can learn more at 49ers.com. So the 49ers having a nice night. And here's an interesting thing, Tim. How important is it for Jared Hayne, do you think, to do this, to be able to play this side of special teams?
Well, no doubt. I mean, the more you can get out of a guy in terms of the teams, the better. Not just as a return guy, not just as potentially a reserve running back, but a guy, there's only so many roster spots. Cover kicks, be able to do everything, and he is running right down the field, going to get in on this play.
Well, there he slowed up the kick returner, Ben Molina. But I would suspect that, Tim, that he really has to be able to play special teams on both sides, right?
And he can. I mean, what you just saw there and how he ran down the field, he was the first guy down covering that kick and had an impact on it. Here's Jared Hayne here. They call that R1, and that's the #1 guy to the right side of the kicker. Just watch Jared Hayne run down the field. He's the first guy down there. He's going to go right around the blocker, not ready for him. Forces the returner to stop. And then all the pursuit catches up. That's a really good job. Special teams.
Pretty good night.
Terrific.
All right, Dallas goes to its fourth quarterback. This is Jamel Showers. Showers out of UTEP. Oh, that was a nice cutback for a first down run by Gus Johnson. Another rookie out of Stephen F. Austin. A lot of the Texas schools represented on the Cowboys roster.
Pretty good job by Eric Armstead doing his job, forcing that thing to cut back. Shane Skov just looked like he got held and really swallowed up right there. No doubt.
So Leon McFadden in there. Steve Boharnis wearing number 40, shifting around, the linebacker that was just signed 2 weeks ago by the 49ers. He actually got in there and got a pop on Showers, but he still delivered the ball to David Porter.
That's a good throw to Porter out on that slant route. Just low down to the inside. Cromartie actually in pretty good coverage out at left corner, but as I like to say, Ted, a great throw beats great coverage every time.
Marcus Cromartie on the 49er defense now. Dante Johnson playing the right corner. LJ McRae and Jermaine Whitehead playing at safety. So this is these are the guys who want to use this fourth quarter to really impress. I figure they'll get the fourth quarter tonight, fourth quarter next week, and probably maybe a little more than that in the fourth preseason game to show somebody in the NFL that they're worthy.
I believe the 1st of September roster cut down to 75
after the third game, right?
After the third game, and then
so it'll be after Denver next week. And the fourth preseason game will be here a week from Thursday, September 3 against San Diego. As Johnson takes that out and gets first down carry to midfield.
Tackle by number 40, Steve Harness.
So you see a lot of new names
First and 10 to the
on the 49er defense at this point. Garrison Smith standing in front of Boharnis, playing on the nose.
And Caleb Ramsey out there playing right defensive end. Eric Armstead still out there at left defensive end battling. I think he's so much tougher and more physical than people think.
Showers being chased by Armstead, fires up the sideline.
And you could see it with Eric Armstead last week in the Houston game. He may not have showed up on the stat sheet really, but just the skill sets, Ted. And I talked to a few of the coaches this week at practice. He likes him to play a little bit lower and get his pad level down at times, but you can see the foot speed, you can see the balance, you can see the hand speed, you can see the violence with the upper body, the arsenal of moves. He likes the arm over, but can do a lot of different things. He's just so raw, but you're going to see him flash, I think, quite a bit this year. He was a good pick. Look at that power.
Oh, Boharnis, flag comes in as he collided with tight end Swain.
I mean, Eric Armstead talking about his power, you just see visions of it. Again, won't show up in the stat sheet, but the way he just punches guys with those hands and he ejects
Pass
them.
interference, defense number 40 playing through the back of the receiver. Automatic first down at the spot of the foul.
I can tell you from experience, it's not easy
Correction,
to
number 48.
move those 300-plus pound offensive linemen like that.
And there he had to move two of them.
And he makes it look easy,
Yeah.
which is just raw physical talent.
Armstead, of course, it's out of from Sacramento, 2 sports at Oregon, and
has an older brother that
Yeah.
played at USC and I believe was with the Patriots, right? Spent time in the NFL.
And Showers got rid of that one. And good job by Showers. Before he was dragged down, Marcus Rush had him, but Showers got rid of the ball for the incompletion.
And got tattooed right in his chest by Caleb Ramsey. Marcus Rush is just going to, he's just going to keep battling. Inside move right there. That's what we talked about earlier. Twisting his hips. And Caleb Ramsey's lucky that that wasn't called a roughing on the passer right there with the guy low, and then him really putting that crown of his helmet right into the chin of Showers.
I'll tell you a perception I have after this play. We'll see if you agree with me or not. 2nd and 10. And that one's broken up by Dante Johnson. For some reason, and I know the SEC gets all the love when it comes to finding talent, but to me there's two schools, and you just see guys that are football players come from those two schools. One is Wisconsin, and the other is Michigan State. Marcus Rush, making me think of it. I mean, you just see
and
football
Michigan
players
State's
come out.
always been that way.
Yeah.
I mean, you think back. I played against Michigan State twice, once in a Rose Bowl, I believe it was in '87. And we also opened up in East Lansing. I mean, year after year, they're putting quality players. No matter where they're drafted, they're putting quality players in the NFL.
Showers, nice job there to buy some time and eventually dump it off to Gus Johnson, but Gus Johnson can't get where he wanted because of Shane Stove.
You watch the coverage in this defense. The rush is clearly better tonight, and you got to link them up. Sean Lemon, good run around there, forces Showers up, but the tackling, the awareness, the pass defense, breaking up on the football, the 2 interceptions. Remember, no takeaways last week. This defense led the NFL in interceptions last year. That stuff has been so much better, Ted, in this game here tonight.
4th down. And let's see what happened there. Timeout called by the 49ers. So
Timeout San Francisco, the team's first.
We'll pause before the 4th down Dallas play.
There's Jared Hayne getting ready to go in on punt coverage here. See this? This is a press credential. Last week, 4 for Australian reporters. Tonight, 20. The fever is catching on for Jared Hayne. Let's see what he does on punt coverage, guys.
Well, Dennis, the Broncos better get ready. There could be more than 20 next week. 4th down here. 49ers bringing everybody. How about that? Safeties both came in. McCray and Whitehead, both safeties came in behind the first wave.
LJ McCray, I mean, he is like a speeding bullet coming right up the middle, unblocked. And again, what you love is he's coming unblocked. There he is, but watch how he just lowers his pad level and hits the quarterback down low with his shoulder. You can't do it any better, and he got there in a hiccup now. Very nice preseason for him. Look at that. I mean, there was 3 quarterback hits last week against Houston. Now, the ball was coming out a lot faster, but the sacks, the hits, the takeaways in this game tonight, what a difference.
All right, 49ers, Dylan Thompson off the play action throw.
That's that ball.
That's Busta Anderson, another 7th round pick out of South Carolina. Those are college teammates connecting.
Right on time. Dylan Thompson, little fake right there. It's a crossfire where the tight end's coming from the backside of the formation. Really tough on that outside cover guy as he's looking at all the action going away, and now here comes a passing threat right in his face. Dylan Thompson made him pay for it with a perfect throw and then a good run after the catch because the throw was so good.
Kendall Gaskin's short carry there. 49ers made a trade this week and their newest player is on the field. You see him right there wearing 69, Jordan Devey. Offensive lineman they picked up from New England.
He started a few games last year for New England, right?
Yes, played in a couple. He's a Utah. Went to junior college in Utah, then played a couple of years at Memphis before spending 2 years in New England.
Just add another guy to the right guard competition. Why not?
And I think a little experience, Tim. I'm guessing that had to be a big part of this move, an experienced lineman.
Yeah, and no doubt I think that was the draw, plus the number of tight ends that were on the roster. And exchange one guy out, And bringing a guy who's played that position and has played in some NFL games. So all in all, I think a good transaction.
Thompson with a keep. Ooh, he got upended in the secondary by Robert Steeples.
We've seen more of these movement plays by the quarterback tonight. We saw Colin Kaepernick run a read option. He kept it. Also saw him hand it off a time or two. Blaine Gabbert did it. Now Dylan Thompson. So you're starting to see, I think, more wrinkles that we're going to see in this offense when football gets real.
Fourth down throw here intended for Nigel King.
Good
and
throw.
Wow, that was a nice throw, and it was knocked away at the very last there by Rod Sweeting. Prevents this from being a terrific fourth down catch. 49ers had a very strong first quarter on offense. Their Nissan drive of the game with Kaepernick at the helm.
No, it was awesome. I mean, good blocking all the way across the board by the line, by the fullback Bruce Miller, by the wide receivers chipping in, running backs catching passes out of the backfield. Carlos Hyde right there. The only thing they didn't do was score a touchdown, but you got to give credit to the corner, Corey White, for Dallas. Individually made a great play, period. I mean, the throw was great from Colin. Back shoulder throw to Torrey Smith, had it in his hands for a second. And individually, Corey White just made a great play breaking the arms down.
Well, there on first down, Garrison Smith wearing 65 for the 49ers, second-year man out of Georgia.
It's amazing how all these big men can run, isn't it? I mean, he's down on the ground, bounces up, and then tracks down a quarterback that has got some foot speed. All these guys can run.
That's 3 bills worth right there.
Moving.
A slant caught by Porter, and he has a Dallas first down to the 45. Coverage by Sean Lemon, another linebacker. 49ers, because of those personnel situations, ended up thin in linebackers. So they brought in 2 players after camp started. Steve Boharness 1 and Sean Lemon 2. And that one through 2 hands. Swaim, the Dallas tight end, and Whitehead, the 49ers safety. Let's get another Ask Tim from our Twitter feed at KPIX Football. This is brought to you by Jack in the Box.
Hard to say. You know, I mean, I think he's going to be much better in this offense when you talk about Colin. What he got from Kurt Warner. What made Kurt Warner great was Kurt's ability to stand in there knowing he was going to get blasted and let that receiver uncover. It's been hard to see any of that in the preseason, but look, I just think it's going to be a much better year for Colin in this offense, and the addition of Reggie Bush and Torrey Smith, I think the weapons are much better.
Showers, another standing in there when he was going to get hit, delivers that ball to Swaim, the rookie tight end to the San Francisco 40.
And I just think, Ted, you're going to see, because the offense is streamlined in terms of the play calling, and they'll have a variety of concepts, but a limited number of plays, and it's going to be better for everybody, not just Colin. It's going to be better for the whole offense.
That man right there.
No doubt.
If you ask me,
I agree with you.
Who's going to have a rebound year and how vital it will be to the 49ers for that to happen, it's 85, that man.
No, I had a nice conversation with Vernon at practice this week, and he's still got it in him to be the guy he was 2 years ago. There is, I'm certain about that.
And you know what's funny is I had a similar conversation with him this week, and the one thing Vernon admitted was that he's working on re-establishing the rhythm. He said, I lost it with Cap last year. And Vernon wasn't. Those 2 touchdowns in game 1, he wasn't targeted a lot.
Look, Ted, there were some dysfunctional issues around here for a variety of reasons, and you know, there's no doubt that he's all in terms of being engaged.
Yes, exactly. That's the point. He's in. He said his mindset is perfect, and he said that's what I'm working on right now. I'm working on making sure I have my rhythm back with Cap, because they had it. They had it 2 years ago, and it got sidetracked last year.
No doubt, and you talked about those 2 touchdowns. You know, he wasn't targeted in the red zone after that Dallas game. I mean, there was something wrong with that when you look at his level of talent. Something more than just football. And when you look at Cap and Vernon and how they're engaged with each other in this offense, I think an offense that's going to have a lot of targets to the tight ends. I'm expecting a big bounce back year for 85.
And a play stopped here on the snap of 3rd and 10.
Ball start. Offense number 74. 5-yard penalty. 3rd down.
And 15 now.
And watch what the addition of a true X receiver, a weak side receiver that can really run, Torrey Smith. Watch what that does to help out the strong side and the tight end and Vernon Davis. And Anquan Bolden. And then Reggie Bush coming out to the weak side. I mean, it's his addition right there, 82, is real fast and is a real big time threat. It's going to open it up for everybody else in the receiving game.
Jamel Showers, and that one lay on McFadden. Not sure he would have made it, but he saw an end zone there. He was thinking the big run.
Here's the Cap on that first drive that was all perfect. Colin Kaepernick here making a great read one-on-one to Torrey Smith. Good throw on the back shoulder fade. And Torrey had it in his hands for a second, but individually that was just a great play by the corner. Ripping the arms down, breaking it down. I mean, you'd love to cap that terrific drive, running and throwing with a touchdown, but give the corner of the Cowboys some credit.
So Dallas goes on 4th and 15. Jamel Showers, 49ers really bring 3 hard rushes, and he still completes the ball. Wow, that's well done to Swaim.
That's such a good throw.
Jeff Swaim showed a little something tonight for the Cowboys, and that's a 1st down on 4th and 15.
There's the matchup right there. Boharnis on Swaim, trailing a little bit, but gets that arm out in front of him. That's just an outstanding throw from Showers. Just outside the reach of Steve Boharnis.
Whoa. And Showers does a great job to step away, and he steps it all the way down inside the 15 as the corner McFadden came in, and Showers got away, and then he took advantage. And for the first time tonight, the Cowboys are in the Toyota red zone.
Here comes the pressure. Boharnis from the outside, McFadden from the other side. Now, typically in a game plan, your game plan, and you got a quarterback that can run like that, you're typically going to have a spy on him if you're sending pressure.
Now, these two rookies clearly have established a connection. You can tell Showers and Swaim look like they've been doing this a long time.
Another good throw right on the money.
And we haven't seen him tonight, but of course the Cowboys still have Jason Witten, like Anquan Bolden, closing in on 1,000 career catches. Should get that total this year. And Showers gets the Cowboys their first points of the night on the pass to Nick Harwell. It's a nice drive executed by Jamel Showers.
Well, both running and throwing. And that time, just buying time, getting out to the right side of the pocket. Here comes the pressure again. And then he keeps his eyes downfield. He wanted the tight end Swaim again. He was covered up pretty good out there on the edge. And then he looks back in the inside and throws it high to the back of the end zone where only Nick Harwell could go get it in between the two safeties.
So that is the first offensive touchdown of the night. And it is scored by the Cowboys, who will now take advantage of this. Well, they could always have this option, but they will go for 2.
Now you know the new rule now. If you get a...
Yes, live ball.
That's right.
That's the change. It's live for the defense.
Oh,
like right there! Yes! Look at this! And Showers saves the day. As Jermaine Whitehead had a chance to run that back for 2 points.
Hey, watching these guys break on footballs tonight on the back end. Linebackers, safeties, corners. I mean, clearly that was an emphasis all week. And he was sniffing a couple of points just like we were talking about with the new rule change.
So in college, this has always been a live ball, but in the NFL, this is new this year. You go for 2, it's a live ball that the defense can run back. That would have been 2 points.
That's right.
Had Whitehead been able to take that the distance.
And it's the same on a PAT. On a PAT as well. Well, you love the takeaways. I mean,
Jermaine Whitehead from Auburn. It's another school. We seem like there's 500 guys a year that come out of Auburn.
Well, now you're back to the Southeastern
How's
Conference
that happen?
again.
Yeah, I know. So just over 4 minutes to play. You know, because this was a later start in regards to the rest of the country, Tim, we came here today and a lot of people were buzzing about the news from a game earlier today between the Packers and the Steelers. Jordy Nelson, the great Packer receiver, suffering what's believed to be a torn ACL.
On a non-contact play.
Marquise Pouncey, the Steelers center, broken bone, going to have surgery in his leg. And you say, I mean, this is a pain. It's been forever. It's nothing new about preseason games. But that's what you hope. I mean, tonight, say that what's the good news tonight? Just get out without injury.
Knock on wood.
That's Mario Hull running that out of the end zone for the 49ers. And I go back to being a kid growing up in New York, and I was a massive Joe Namath fan. And this is back, I think, when they were still playing either 5 or 6 preseason games back then. Namath throws an interception in a preseason game, and he tries to roll block tackle the linebacker who's running the pick back, and Namath blows his knee out, misses the whole year. And it was the most silliest way to lose a franchise player.
The thing is, though, when guys are in the heat of battle, preseason or not, they're typically going to go play and do what they do instinctually.
Running back Gaskins carries here. So before today's game, I was up in our radio booth. Keena Turner's working on our radio with Bob Fitzgerald while we were down here on TV. Keena was talking about that very same thing. He said, you know, we played 4 preseason games when I played for the 49ers, but we played them.
Absolutely.
I said, not now.
Timeout, Dallas. The team's first. 30-second timeout.
Well, you talk about the salary cap environment and guaranteed contracts and the way things are now. And really, truly in my mind, you're evaluating maybe 10 players. Not to get on my soapbox here, but I would love to see 2 preseason games, 16 regular season games, and add 2 more teams in the playoffs.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
And even 2 of those controlled scrimmages.
Right.
First game, by the way, for the 49ers is going to be a difference this year. Monday Night Football. The season will open right here in Levi's against the Vikings on September 14.
They're going to wear those black
on
uniforms,
KPIX5.
You think?
I don't know if that's been determined. There'll be one game where the alternates are worn this year as Gaskins carries. And then it's to the road, Pittsburgh and Arizona back-to-back. And, of course, Pittsburgh's going to be a tough enough game, let alone it'll be the short week. And then back here, Aaron Rodgers is here on October 4. Joe Flacco and the Ravens on October 18.
30-second timeout.
Now, you look at Pittsburgh and Green Bay, and we'll see if Green Bay lost Jordy Nelson. They are still loaded in terms of the receiver core. Pittsburgh as well with those wide receivers. 2 of the best quarterbacks in pro football. Carson Palmer is back with a group of old and good young wide receivers. Eli Manning with those wide receivers. I mean, Baltimore, you know what Joe Flacco can do. Defense are going to have their work cut out for them, stopping all those high-powered offenses this year.
And 3rd down, Dallas calling a timeout as Jason Garrett wants the ball back, and he's going to get it back as that's an incompletion. Arizona this week took a couple of hits. They thought they really had a solid O-line, and they've taken a couple of hits, including Mike Iupati going down.
That's right.
He won't be healthy when the 49ers go there for the first meeting of the season between them.
It's going to be so much fun. I mean, I think you look at, we all know about competitive balance and parity in pro football. A lot of these games this year for these 49ers are going to come down to a possession and who makes the critical play in the biggest moments of the game.
Nick Harwell muffing the catch, so just wisely falls on it. Well, it's not often that a nose tackle makes our Lexus play of the game. Welcome, Mike Purcell.
Good pressure up inside. There's Eric Armstead and then Purcell. I mean, great job getting the football and capturing it and catching it. Usually, say with defensive lineman, he's rummaging in for the touchdown, but he's running in for the touchdown, making cuts, running away from guys. Really happy for Mike Purcell, who's had a super preseason.
So the Cowboys back to work here. Showers trying to see if he can duplicate a nice effort on their last drive to get the Cowboys' first points. Pressure from behind, and Showers held the ball despite getting hammered.
Sean Lemon running the corner, sending a 5-man pressure. That's going to create a one-on-one out on the edge, and then you see Shane Skov running over Michael Hill, swatting that ball out. But that's a good job by Showers hanging on to that ball.
You know what that replay shows you right there? He's got strong hands.
No doubt. And what a great technique by Lemon, turning that corner and then reaching out to try to swat it out.
That looked like a Russell Wilson sort of play who's got those claws for hands. Showers only had one hand on that ball and he held it. Now he delivers to David Porter.
Remember the guy who used to wear 31? He'd come up and hit you, Dante Whitner. Well, this young buck right here, L.J. McCray, will light you up. Period. We've seen that in the preseason. He gets, and they're not illegal hits. He gets an opportunity. He's gonna ring it up and hit you hard.
Cowboys need 7, and that one is Dante Johnson. And Johnson wins the wrestle for the ball. Greenberry, the receiver, was trying to grab a piece of it and get the simultaneous call in his favor, but Dante Johnson didn't let him have it.
Takeaways, huge theme tonight, interceptions. Dante almost had one last week, and this one he's not going to give up. Again, great drive on the ball, bursting up, keeping his eyes on the quarterback, and then his length and his strength came into play right there, Ted, as he took it away and certainly wasn't going to let it go after he had it.
How about a sweet hairstyle there, Dante Johnson. Wow, and how about the hat? Saw Eric Reed going crazy on the sideline back there wearing a different.
You know, that's the Frohawk right there. It's not the Mohawk, that's the Frohawk.
I've noticed that this week. That's pretty impressive.
How could you miss it?
I know. I don't know.
You just didn't see him with his helmet on.
I guess. Kendall Gaskins getting the carries here. Down the stretch as Dallas is using its final timeout here.
This is the third and final timeout, Dallas. 30-second timeout.
Reminder that we are going to still stay with you. We'll have the 5th quarter with Dennis and Vern coming up after the regulation game here. Jeremy Newberry's also on hand. We'll be in Denver Saturday night for preseason game 3. Toyota 5th quarter coming up in just a few moments. And then we'll be in Denver Saturday night. And back here 1 week Thursday for San Diego. Those will be the remaining preseason games on our KPIX preseason network.
Be interesting. Preseason game number 3, usually the dress rehearsal, right? How much do we see Colin Kaepernick play? Joe Staley, and how much do we get to defend against Peyton Manning and the Denver Broncos? I have a feeling we'll be seeing a lot of Brock Osweiler. And that's all new for them, that offense now with Gary Kubiak coming in.
Exactly. This is not the only franchise that had changed. Denver blew out its whole coaching staff after a series of good years. So that'll be an interesting thing for us to watch Saturday night. Final 2 minutes coming here. Levi Stadium at dusk on this August evening. The 49ers really had a pretty good night in all 3 areas. And of course, the special teams has shined. From Jaron Haynes' punt returns to 3 field goals to a blocked punt by Quentin Patton for a touchdown.
Really nice punt by Bradley Pinion down inside the 5, down at about the 2-yard line.
So now 3rd down. Cowboys have no timeouts remaining. Gaskins is the running back behind Dylan Thompson. Trying to stretch it outside, and Gaskins won't get enough for the first down. But the clock will run. And Jim Tomsula, see how the 49ers played. They could just go for this and try to run the game out. They'll need about 2 yards.
We talk about Jared Hayne. How instrumental is that guy in his development?
Yes.
Tommy Rathman, the running back coach. I mean, you've watched Tom coach, and he's done it for a long time at a variety of places. Was obviously a great fullback here with the 49ers, and is still a throwback. You talk about the details and coaching guys hard. Fun to watch.
And the 49ers do get it. Gaskin's going to run enough for the first down. Of course, this is a different camp for Tom Rathman, and I did speak with him about this, you know, after a decade of working with Frank Gore.
Yeah.
And Tom said, you know, Frank still actually calls him a little bit from Indianapolis, you know.
And
you know, talking about some drills that the 49ers did that Frank really liked, and he may try to implement some of those in Indianapolis. So they've got a great bond, but Tom has turned the corner now, and he's been very talking about making sure, hey, Reggie Bush needs to be ready week 1. And Kendall Hunter, we want to make sure we don't do anything to risk Kendall in the preseason.
yeah, it's not Tom's first rodeo. He gets it. Have guys ready for Sunday when it's real football.
All right, that's the final knee there taken by Thompson, and the 49ers get through the first game in Levi Stadium, and a lot of things go well tonight, including 3 sparkling punt returns by Jared Hayne. These are 2 guys who both have a little European football in their background. Jason Garrett was a quarterback when the first version of NFL Europe was called the World League of American Football came into being. Jason Garrett was a quarterback in that league. Kaepernick got a little work in the first quarter, but
And in limited work, I thought looked really good. On-time throws to the running backs. Saw a little read option. Good decision. Good decision. You know, we don't talk about this, but checking plays at the line of scrimmage, reading the defense, getting them into the right runs. Made a good throw to Torrey Smith.
all right, Dennis, find out if you can get some Vegemite for us.